You're listening to Gareth Parker on 6PR, the voice of Perth.
9221 882 is the talkback number. Well, there's a new locally made advertising campaign that goes to air tonight. It's about quitting smoking, and it features a diverse group of 12 West Australians who have recently quit smoking or are attempting to quit, and one of them is Tarryn, and she joins me in the studio. G'day, Tarryn.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, and we'll hear your story in a minute, Tarryn, but also with me in the studio is Libby Jardine, who is the Cancer Council's Make Smoking History campaign manager. Hello to you.
Hello, and thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming in. It's obviously an important message. We're just going to play some of the audio of this new campaign that's going to launch on TV tonight. Here is a bit of it.
This is a message from every quitter
to every smoker.
Because I love my family.
I love my grandchildren.
Because I love you.
This is why I want to stop smoking.
It's not going to be easy.
And look, it's nothing personal.
But there's one thing that I gotta ask.
Please don't smoke around me while I'm quitting.
Because it makes it so much harder.
If you can't quit with me,
And if you love me too.
don't smoke around me,
Please.
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 Well, there you go. Fairly heartfelt plea. That's obviously the audio, but the TV commercial, which you might see tonight if you're in front of the box, features those 12 West Australians delivering the message straight down the camera, asking, if you can't quit with me, don't smoke around me. Tarryn, you're one of the people featured in that TV commercial.
Indeed.
Tell us about your journey with smoking,
Sure.
when you began, and how you got to where you're at now.
Sure. Okay. Well, I started smoking when I was about 12 or 13. I had an older sister who smoked, and it looked cool.
Yep.
And it was back then. Not so much now, thankfully. But I've smoked pretty much the whole time. I quit for a time while I had my 3 children, and then started again and have smoked pretty consistently for 14 years. I quit because I got involved with the Cancer Council's campaign because I had been hospitalised with pneumonia last year and became very close to dying, which was pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but for my family and my kids and my husband. And so for me, when I saw the call on Facebook, I thought, I need to be a part of this. I need other people. If I could sort of reach just one person, just one other person, to make them quit, then being part of this whole campaign was worth it. I've got 3 children, and I don't want them to watch me die of emphysema or lung cancer or any other numerous amount of cancers that I could get. They watched me pretty ill last year, and yeah, so for me the motivation was my family and the wider community. If we can all just not smoke around those who are trying to quit, or better yet, quit with those who are quitting who we love, it's got to be a win-win for everybody.
So the pneumonia diagnosis, what was your doctor's advice about smoking in relation to that? Was it that it made your recovery from that more difficult because of your respiratory capacity, or was it just the sheer fact that you got an illness as serious as pneumonia, that it put you in hospital, and that was a pretty confronting thing, and you thought, whoa, hang on, I don't want to be back in this situation again with a smoking-related illness down the track? It was
bit of both. The diagnosing doctor in the hospital that I was in, she was pretty ruthless, I'll be honest.
Just they gave it straight between the eyes?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You're going to be walking around carrying an oxygen tank if you don't quit. You're 40 years old and got the lungs of a 70-year-old.
How did that make you feel?
Pretty small, and I cried a lot. And then I got home, and I think for me the catalyst was I got home, and we had a house that had a ranch slider with glass doors, and I was out on the patio having a cigarette. I've just got out of hospital, I've been home maybe an hour, sitting outside having a cigarette, and my daughter was in the kitchen, and she looked at me through the glass, and the look in her eye was just no respect. And I don't even think she realised that she had that look. And I just stood there, and it really got me. And I thought, what am I doing? She's just sat by my bedside for the last 5 days, hoping I'm not going to die, and I'm outside having a cigarette. Not the smartest move.
So that was kind of the tipping point for you?
Yep.
When you made a conscious decision, I've got to get rid of this?
I put the cigarette out, and I did not smoke again, and have not smoked again.
Was that difficult?
In the beginning, it was more of a mindset I had to work out a program that was going to work for me. And so I sort of was cutting down and getting to that point where I was going to quit in my own head. But when I saw her face through that glass, that was it.
Yep.
I put that cigarette out and I just didn't go back.
Did you go cold turkey, or did you use the
No.
aid of things like nicotine replacements and the like? Okay.
I was on Champix. I got that the day I came out of hospital.
Yep.
I went to see my GP and got Champix. So I was taking Champix. Then I would cut down. So I sort of put a program in place where I was having a cigarette once an hour, which sounds a lot, but I smoked a lot more than that. So 1 an hour, then 1 every 2 hours, 1 every 3 hours, carry on, so on like that. And then when I saw my daughter, I was at about, I think, 5 or 6 hours, 1 every 5 or 6 hours anyway. And when I saw her look, I was just like, okay, I need to quit.
Somewhat accelerated the plan.
Yes, absolutely. And I was just like, okay, done.
Yeah.
I've got
How long ago was that?
That would have been, it must have been September, because I went into hospital in August, end of August.
Okay.
So it must have been early September.
So it's coming up 5.5 months.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
So much better.
Yeah?
I didn't realise that things around me had a smell, because I had no sense of smell.
Yeah.
So now when I'm cooking, I can actually smell the cooking smells rather than having to go, do you reckon that smells like it's cooked? Rather than having to ask other people, I can smell it. I can smell my perfume, I can smell my shampoo, I can smell my husband's aftershave, and I didn't even realise it had a scent, because my smell was so out of whack. Taste, food, so much nicer now. I'm enjoying food rather than just eating it because to keep me alive, to get outside to have cigarettes.
So your senses have expanded.
And
you've
I've
got
lost weight,
Okay.
which is good. And I always was told that, if you quit smoking, you'll put on weight. It's been the opposite. I quit smoking and I've actually lost weight. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey.
Well, it sounds as though you're well on your way. Libby, Jardine, can I just ask you this? Tarryn's story is quite amazing. And for people who are smokers, I hope that they're getting something out of it. Not everyone can just stop like that. And there's lots of people who try to quit smoking and come back to it.
Yep.
Might 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 times. Mm-hmm. This ad campaign is framed as real West Australians telling their real story and really making a plea for help.
Yep.
How important was that in the way that you framed this new campaign?
Well, this campaign came about because we did some research with WA smokers last year, and they told us 2 things. Well, they told us lots of things, but these are the 2 ones that stood out. They said to us, when other people smoke around me, that's a really key trigger to smoke. So I'm trying to quit, and others smoke around me, and I pick up the cigarettes. The other thing that they said to us is when a loved one smoked, so a partner or a good friend, that was a really big barrier to quitting, because often people will bond over a cigarette or 2.
It's a social activity. It can be.
It can be a social activity. It also can be an antisocial activity,
sure.
as we know. But what this research was definitely saying is a social activity, and I smoke with my loved ones. And so if my loved ones were to support me in a quit attempt and not smoke around me, they said I'm probably much more likely to be successful in that quit attempt. So we created an ad and we tested it, and it did really well. And then we went out and we did a call through Facebook and other media asking for West Australians that had either just quit or were trying to quit to come and join this ad campaign and help us tell the story. And we've had 12 amazing individuals come forward who've just been phenomenal. They've volunteered their time and they've all been so passionate about this project, and we're really grateful.
Well, it's a good campaign, or certainly the bit that we heard, it's a pretty clear message. And Tarryn, I think your story is quite interesting as well. Jane has called through. Now, Jane, you quit smoking 34 years ago?
34 years.
Well done. Was it difficult?
It is the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. I joined the Navy when I was 17, thought it looked pretty cool, took up cigarettes, and then I smoked for about 20 years, all right? And I was a fairly heavy smoker. And then I decided that was it. I gave it up, okay? This was 34 years ago. The hardest thing I've ever done, and it was a mental thing. I had a packet of cigarettes on my desk always open, and if I'd had one puff of a cigarette, I would never have been able to give it up. If I had a cigarette today, I would not be able to give it up again. I know that.
Yeah.
But I had 6 weeks in hospital last year with a collapsed lung, and every morning the specialist would come in and I'll say, what caused this? Can't be that. Faye, it is your cigarette. That is. And it stays in your body like this. And I have to live with this now, this problem. But please, give up cigarettes. Do not smoke.
That's a good message, Jane, and we applaud you for sharing your story on the program this morning. Tarryn, do you miss it at all?
No. There are times, I suppose, that I should probably miss it, but I don't. I don't miss how it made me feel. I don't miss the way my clothes smelled or how I smelled. I think my husband much prefers the way I smell now without all the cigarette smoke over me. So, no, and I don't miss it. I don't miss the amount of money I was spending on it.
Well, it's so expensive now with all the tax hikes, and that's clearly done for a purpose, and I don't know, maybe you can go on a holiday or something like that with the savings.
Well, as I was explaining to Libby, actually, I was just saying that at the moment I am able to stay home and just spend some time with my family, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I smoked because I'd be spending all that money on cigarettes.
Yeah.
There's no way I could stay home.
You'd have to go and work to pay for your cigarette addiction.
Pretty much.
Well, Tarryn, we appreciate you coming in, and Libby.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with the campaign. We hope that people will see it on TV, and if they are smokers, they'll take something out of it. I've certainly got a lot out of hearing your story today, Tarryn.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. All right.